Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. We are at GearFest 2014, and we are joined by Jason Hook from Five Finger Death Punch.
Good morning. How are you?
Thanks for coming in, man.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you being here. You actually, one of your free weekends during the summer when you're not playing a festival, when you're not doing a tour?
It was just a fluke, actually. We've been playing every single weekend doing festivals in and around the States, so this is like the only weekend I had off, and here I am.
Oh, we appreciate you taking the time and coming out to see us.
Thank you.
Bringing your signature guitar. I want to talk about that with you when we get... let's step back. You actually are from Toronto.
Yeah.
Originally.
Canadian.
Started playing about 6 years old?
6 years old. Yeah, started playing about 6 years old. You did your research.
Well, you know, I like to know what I'm talking about.
That's good. Yeah, 6 years old. I mean, I just wanted to be, I saw Kiss records and I was like, that looks incredible. And I just want to do that so bad. I think that they had that effect on a lot of kids. Mm-hmm. And so I just begged my dad, please, can I have an electric guitar? And just like every other situation, they have like a cheap acoustic guitar to start. And I'm like, ugh! But anyway, I learned a couple things, and then I wanted a drum kit and a bass guitar, and kind of just, I wanted to be the whole band.
Right.
But anyway, stuck with the guitar. And
did you take lessons, or did you teach yourself, or how did you get into it?
I took lessons, yeah. I took lessons on drums and guitar. I had a private teacher on guitar that would come to my house once a week, and it was just awesome. I was just having such a blast with it. You know, when you're a kid, you don't have to worry about anything, no bills or, you know.
Right.
So, you know, you just I would get home from school and just play. Mm-hmm. And that's how it all started.
Right. Mm-hmm. So kind of like Eddie Van Halen, started on drums and then doing the guitar thing.
Yeah, true. And I think that anytime that I've known a guitar player that has some sort of background on a drum kit, they have an extra sense of rhythm, you know, like they're always thinking about where the beat falls and how to play in and around it, you know.
Right, right, yeah. It definitely translates into playing, I think, the rhythmic aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Right, right. So one of your first successful bands, Monkey Head.
Wow.
Tell us about that.
You're killing me. Wow, it's impressive. Well, the first band that I got into in Canada, you know, we worked very hard. We were writing songs. We didn't know what we were doing. We were very young. Mm-hmm. But we were just beating the club circuit up, and we would play half cover songs and then half our own material. And you know, eventually we got into studio, made some demos, got the attention of Elektra Records in New York, and recorded the album we got signed, and then we recorded the album in Los Angeles, and then that kind of fizzled out, and we got dropped. And then I took those recordings and years later licensed them to a European label under the name Monkey Head.
Okay.
That's what those are, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Cool. So did you stay in LA then, or did you move to LA later?
Well, it was right after that band got dropped from Elektra. Was somewhere in the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty devastating, you know, as you're a young kid and everyone is so proud of you and so happy that you're off and running. Right. I mean, it broke the band up, and it was after that happened that I decided, well, if I want to just take one more shot at this, I've got to leave and go to LA, no matter what it takes. And that's when I just drove down in like a Dodge Colt, right, with $200. It was nutty.
You and your guitar.
Yeah.
Right. And I read something where you had made a promise to yourself that you were going to do it by playing guitar, no matter what it took, no matter what you had to play.
Love this guy. Right? It's like it's incredible.
Because you had some interesting musical kind of directions that you went in after you got there.
Well, you know, the only thing that I really believe that I'm good at is playing the guitar, and you know, it's the only asset that I really have. So if I sort of, you know, get into this field or start making a little bit of money doing computer work or whatever, it's not really why I made, you know, I said don't go there and get scooped up into some other thing. So I just said, or waste time in some kind of day job.
Right.
You know, I said I'm going to make sure that I'm playing guitar, even if it's $10 a day. That's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I did.
Right. So you did some session work?
Oh, I did play it on everybody's thing, yeah.
Right.
I used to say, look, because people would, you know, I'd be playing at a party or a barbecue, or I'd be playing at a club gig, or I'd come up and jam on jam night, or I'd be, you know what I mean? So people would be like, hey man, how much would it cost to get you playing on my demo? I'm recording all this week, and you know, we're talking like a demo, like a bedroom demo. Sure. And I'd be like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll just come and play on the demo, and if you like it, you pay me what you think is fair. If you hate it, no harm, no foul. We're still friends. Sure. And I walk away.
Sure.
So I ended up like, there's this guy that plays for free. No. He's great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. So you ended up then playing with Bullet Boys?
Oh, yeah.
Did a little stint with them a couple of years?
Well, that was kind of my first real gig as far as, you know, Bullet Boys had some success in the late 90s. I think their first record went gold, and it was '89 with "Smooth Up in You" and "For the Love of Money," which was a cover song. And then they had a couple records after that. I always thought the band was really cool, very organic, and a four-piece kind of like raw, almost Guns N' Roses meets Van Halen type band.
Right.
Flash forward to when they asked me to join. They just got a hold of me, and there wasn't really a lot of money in it, but they had a bus, and we were going on a tour of clubs, and that was kind of my first experience on a real tour. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually, because I was the only guitar player, and it was low pressure, because it wasn't like we were going on to, you know, the Letterman show or anything. It was just like these saloons, you know?
Right.
So,
right.
it was
right,
cool.
but a great learning experience.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You get out and get a tour under your belt.
Every situation will teach you something, you know? So every time I was in a situation, no matter how frustrating it was or how difficult it may have been, you're thinking, there's something I'm supposed to extract from this. So figure out what it is, and then you start to think, well, there's a reason I'm here then.
Right.
You know?
Right. You went on from there, Mandy Moore.
Oh boy.
Did some work with her.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, actually, man, you know, that whole thing was great. I mean, that sort of sticks with the original idea of no matter what, I'm going to play my guitar, and that's it. So people, you know, I started to meet more musicians, and they would be like, there's an audition tomorrow. They're looking for an acoustic guitar player. Do you have an acoustic? Of course I have an acoustic. Of course I didn't have an acoustic. But I remember just getting the lead to go to this audition, and I went to the audition. I got the gig. So before you know it, so then now I sort of left the Bullet Boy situation, and now we're off like touring all over the world, doing mostly TV shows. It was kind of a weird thing. It was like, back then it was TRL, MTV, Beach House, all these kind of like The View morning show type appearances, and I'm just up there playing, you know, some of them with just me and her.
Right.
So that was some pressure there, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I loved it. I was happy because I was sticking with the plan, and the plan was working, and that to me was success.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, you're playing your guitar.
instead of like lifting pallets at Home Depot on a forklift, going, God, I should have taken that gig. You know.
Right.
So.
Right. From there, Alice Cooper, Vince Neil.
Yeah.
Some sessions and
Yeah.
some playing with those guys.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple other pop gigs that we can skip over. Well, just because I mean, I don't hide anything, and I had a great time doing all that stuff. But I would prefer that people know me as the guy now who's in Death Punch, which is really where my heart is, you know.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm kind of a hyper, and I like to.
Right,
you know.
right. What I thought was interesting is that you had an early connection, though, there, because your first solo album, Safety Dunce, had the Jeremy Spencer, right, was the drummer.
Yes.
On that. And Jeremy Spencer's the drummer in a Five Finger Death Punch.
Well, see, Jeremy and I have been friends. He was one of the first musicians that I became friends with in Los Angeles, and he's an incredibly talented and hardworking guy, and we just clicked. And I remember thinking that whatever I do, I want to do it with this guy, because he's very fiery and very high energy, exciting. I had kind of my Alex Van Halen type, you know.
Right.
And I tried to pull Jeremy into all these gigs I had, and he was like, I don't know, man, you know, Bullet Boys and, you know, all this stuff. But I started playing with Vince Neil, so I'll tie this into the timeline. But when I started playing with Vince Neil, I was trying to get Vince to do a record. I got this great drummer, and I can write all the music. And Vince was like, oh, yeah, cool, man, that's cool, you know. But I could never nail Vince down to get any work done, you know. And so Jeremy and I ended up having all this music that we were working on recording. And I said, you know what, let's just turn it into an instrumental record. And I'll just do a bunch of leads over it, and we'll look at it like that. So that Safety Dunce essentially started off being we were trying to make a solo record for Vince. So
It ended up being a great
ended up
thing
being
for you.
my record.
Yeah.
So
And then you had that tie-in.
Yeah.
Then you had that tie-in with Five Finger Death Punch.
Well, yeah,
because he became the drummer there.
Well, that's right, because, you know, when I got the Cooper gig, Jeremy and I didn't know what we were going to do with it. What do you do? We made an instrumental record, and what do you do with that? You know, it's a long way away from being a band, from being a signed act or whatever. So I took another gig, and he was like, well, if you're going to go do Alice Cooper, I'm just going to look for a heavy metal band. I like to play metal. I want to play my double bass. I don't care if it makes money. I got to have fun. You know, it's what I really want to do. Okay, cool. So he answers an ad in one of the LA trades, and it ends up being Zoltan, the other guitar player from Death Punch, is looking for a drummer. So those two start writing songs together, and I would come off tour from Cooper, and he'd be like, dude, I found this guitar player. He's like this heavy rhythm guy, and I'd be like, let me check it out. And I was listening to it going, I'm supposed to be your guitar player. Right. This is all bad.
Right.
But the net is, it got signed, and I got into it sort of at the last minute. It was a really lucky thing for me.
Right.
Because I almost missed, almost passed me by, and it would have been, devastating.
Yeah, no, it worked out
worked out
wonderfully,
well.
obviously. So albums since then, world tours, videos, lots of great stuff going on.
I can't complain.
Yeah?
We work very hard. We don't mess around as far as, we're a little older. The whole party lifestyle is not important to us. We kind of want to be good at what we do, and we want to be focused, and we don't want it to go away. That's the biggest fear, is like, let's not screw this up, because you watch so many bands that do screw it up, and we're not delusional. We know that there's a window of popularity, or there's a window where the band has that buzz, and then it kind of subsides, and then people kind of go, what's next,
Right.
So, our curve of popularity or success has been pretty, steep, but, we're doing an album every 18 months. I'm writing music on the road, so that the second we get off the road, maybe we'll take a week off, and then boom, we're tracking. Yeah, and I was talking to Jim this morning. We're building a studio at my house. I have a little anxiety because the accountants keep calling me and telling me, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Most of the stuff that I do for the band, I do at my place, and I just send over the files.
Right. And why do you choose to do that?
Because I don't, I'm an artist. If I want to work at 4 a.m. or I don't feel like working on a schedule, I want to be able to do it at my pace. And I'm super picky about everything I do. So if it's not right, I'll do it 100 times until it's right. I mean, records are forever, okay?
Right.
Like, I'll die, they will stay.
Right.
So there's nothing that is more important than how much time it takes for this to be right for me is what it takes. And if I have to spend every dime of my money to make it right at my house, that's fine too.
Sure.
It's important to me.
Right.
But, I think that's why people have paid attention to our records, because it takes everything we got.
So a couple of the hallmarks of your style that I noticed in going kind of through things is, first of all, you have a real melodic thrust to everything that you do.
Melodic thrust.
A melodic thrust, yes,
like
exactly.
that.
There you go. That's a new trademark term you can use.
I was going to say, is that available.com?
Melodicthrust.com. Is that something you took from your influences, or what drives you in that direction, as opposed to just playing licks or trying to be flashy?
I never liked guitar players. I know it sounds, I shouldn't say that entirely. I never liked guitar players that were just guys that were trying to impress you. I liked guitar players that were in great bands, like Neil Schon from Journey. We talk about melody. People are like, what do you mean? Okay, let me get this straight. The guy from Death Punch likes Journey. Well, let's go back a little bit. It's like everything is a song, and songs impact people, lyrics, melody, rhythms, all that stuff. And the people that are very good at writing songs are the ones that really touch the nerve, touch a lot of people. That's all I want. You call it metal, hard rock, whatever, cool this, it's not cool that, but does it touch the nerve? That's all I want.
Right.
And so the bands that touch the nerve are the bands that are these massive, legendary bands, right? I mean, Journey, love them or hate them, they had some incredible, timeless songs, melodies that will go on forever.
Sure.
And I just thought that Neil was one of those guys that could milk a note. He would just be like,
right.
It's a Stein, and it's certainly that kind of, and songs, right? There's always inside of great songs, and certainly, I'm a big Ace Frehley fan and Kiss, and love them or hate them, this is a huge band that touched millions of people, and certainly resonated with me. And Ace had a very simplistic. Everything had a beginning, a middle, and end, and very rhythmical, and it wasn't too complicated. It was very easy to absorb, and you could sing it back, and I like that. I appreciate that.
Right.
And, as flashy as the only flash that I appreciated was like Eddie Van Halen, because he could still, He could still bend, and it was very freestyle.
Right.
But he had flash. See, but
Right.
that to me that was everything.
Yeah.
And great songs.
Sure. Sure.
1984 sold 18 million copies.
That's a few records.
18 million copies. If we go gold, we're like kissing the ground, going, "Oh God!"
Right. Another thing that I noticed is your use of guitar harmonies.
Yeah.
You'll do little, like almost interludes that are harmony guitars, but what I found even more interesting than that is the way that you'll kind of tuck harmonies behind some of your leads and things. Can you talk a little bit about that, the arranging aspect?
You're so good, dude.
Oh, well.
You're good. Well, because I'm kind of a studio rat, and you realize, well, I got all these tracks, and and I'm doing it at my place, so I always think like, well, this is really neat. And if I'm going to slow down and really sort of stamp out some kind of melodic section, what would it sound like if I did an octave below? And what if I did a third above, or a fifth above, or a fifth below, whatever? And then you go, ooh, that's kind of neat. And then you really pull it right back down so that it's more felt instead of heard.
Right.
And then you get this like thick, and people go, why does it sound like that? But I think it may actually end up being identifiable as my stamp.
I think so.
Because it always slows down, and then there's like this big movement of stuff. And then, of course, when we play it live, some great effects out there now that
Can help you achieve that.
Yeah. I don't want to give away all my secrets, but the intelligent pitch shifter is certainly, you can tell, I'm in B minor, aliens, okay, cool, and it plays all the parts I did on the record for me.
Right. Cool stuff. So you're jamming a little bit on your guitar. Tell us about this. This is the M4 Sherman Explorer, correct?
This is the best guitar you can buy today.
Awesome.
Sorry, Jim. This is an achievement in itself. I mean, certainly, Gibson sort of being, in my opinion anyway, the Rolls-Royce brand of, American-made guitars. Every kid, I think, would love to have their own signature Gibson. That's a big deal.
Right.
So, I was fortunate enough to be granted this great gift, and this is basically been modified, in my opinion anyway, as a hot rod Explorer. I mean, the Explorer is kind of a classic instrument, classic shape. This has been sort of modified for speed demons.
Right.
Anyway, so this is the cutaway here that's kind of cool. So, I would be playing up here, and I would always bang into that bodywood. So I said, let's get rid of that, scoop that out. I like the comfort of having a bevel here, just so that I'm not kind of coming over that right angle. And this is the flux capacitor. We can't talk about that.
No, absolutely not. Gotta have it secret.
No, I like the graphic. I pulled the pickguard off of the ones I did originally, and it left this open channel here. So this is just, I was looking around the garage. I'm like, what can we stuff in there to cover up the wires? And this was like some plastic.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah.
So you've got a Duncan JB and a Duncan 59? Is
Yes,
that right?
sir.
And the pickups there, mini Grovers at the top.
Locking mini Grovers.
Locking mini Grovers?
I was like, do they make those in mini? And they're like, well, we'll have to look. So there you go.
Yeah.
And then my little decal here.
Nice. And it's all mahogany. You
Yeah.
get a big, thick, rich sound out of it.
It's the coolest guitar ever.
That's great.
I love these. And I mean, anyone who's playing one will go, dude, that's incredible. Probably the most notable feature is these are super jumbo frets, and they're flat, like they're very flat, very wide. You can slide around like real fast, and you never, nothing too high. And I think the only other Gibson models that have this fret are maybe either Zakk Wylde for sure, his Bullseye Les Paul, and I think maybe Ace Frehley's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You're really
It's a
digging it, Bravo.
noticeable feel.
Yeah.
It's very fast, because you can move this way, and not feel much crossing your fingers, It's really smooth.
Right. Nice. Jason, thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
We appreciate you hanging
Dude,
out with
you're
us
awesome.
today. Oh, well, you are. And thanks for coming for Gear Fest.
Yeah.
You're going to be putting on a little show here and
That's right.
talking to the people and hanging out a little bit. So thanks a lot.
My
we really
pleasure.
appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you.
I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.